yogi here at the ashram. I am on a day off before the teacher training starts here at the beautiful waterfalls, as you can see in the background. We've come here 2 or 3 times during quarantine as a group, and it's been really fun and amazing. So I was supposed to do the teacher training here in March initially, but since it was cancelled, I just decided to stay on. And it was the best decision I made in the moment. It really allowed me to just enjoy nature and do my practice and come to some sort of clarity of what I want to do with my future. So to be honest, I'm not 100% sure that I want to teach at all, ever. I'm just terrified of speaking in front of people, and I'm just afraid that I'm going to forget the sequence as I start to teach. So I'm a little nervous about that, but I think that from what I heard, as a student, you gain self-confidence every day as you go along, and as a group also. So I hope that that happens to me. But either way, doing social media here at the ashram has given me so much pleasure. So I decided to do a vlog and bring you along with me on this journey throughout the teacher training here at Shivananda Yoga Camp. So obviously, depending on your background, whether or not you've done yoga before, or whether this is your first time at an ashram ever, your experience is going to be different. I think that for a lot of people, chanting is kind of weird because we're all chanting in Sanskrit every day, twice a day. For me, at first when I got here, I really hated it, and I was so nervous to have to try and sing in front of people. So being here for 6 months already has kind of broken the ice for me when it comes to that, because now I kind of am in love with it. I really enjoy chanting Jai Ganesha every day and going up there and doing a little, leading a little chant. So that's one thing. And then just getting used to like waking up early at 5:30 in the morning every day. Before coming here, 5 a.m. was pretty much my bedtime, like 3, 4, or 5 a.m. So it was a big change. I was really motivated when I first got here, so it was all good, but then I kind of went through a little dip and it was harder, and now it's just very natural for me to wake up at 5 or 5:30 in the morning. So I'm really grateful for that. I think that for a lot of people that kind of is a challenge, to be up so early in the morning and starting your day at 6 and then going all the way to 9 p.m. with activity after activity. So prepare yourself for that if you choose to do the teacher training here in November, especially because during the darker months it's even harder. Yeah. So I'm gonna try and lead you through the teacher training a little bit every day, from the moment I wake up to the time we go to bed, whether it's satsang, the yoga class, our meals, the other activities that we have chanting class, philosophy class, and I think we have another couple classes as well. And then actually teaching as well. Towards the end, we start to practice teaching. So I'm going to try and capture a little bit of footage of everything so you get an idea and a real feel for what life is like here at the ashram during teacher training. Of course, this is a bit different than usual because we're limited to 25 people this year because of the situation that's happening throughout the world. During the summer teacher trainings, usually it can be a lot more people. So it'll be a very intimate group, but I think that personally I prefer that. You get to know everybody and you get more individual attention from the teachers if you have more questions or you just want to progress faster. Are you ready? in the middle of the first day of the teacher training. Last night we had the initiation where everybody came to present themselves and say their name, where they're from, and their intention for the teacher training or why they're here. It's pretty cool. We have a pretty diverse group, though I think it's we're the youngest ones here. Me, I'm 26, there's somebody else is 20, somebody else is 18, and otherwise they're a little bit older. But it's nice because everybody seems to be pretty serious about yoga, learning, and either teaching or just deepening their practice. So I'm getting a little winded because I live up in the woods here in the cabins. I'll show you around a little. So after the initiation, we all received our uniforms, and so now we're all yellow and white. And then the next morning we had our first satsang this morning at 6 a.m. We had a puja for Lord Ganesha. So we prayed to Ganesha to remove the obstacles in the teacher training ahead, or any obstacles ahead generally. But that's what it was dedicated to this morning. So everybody came up on the stage and gave a little offering of flowers. It was really nice. After that, at 8 a.m. we had our first open class. Unfortunately, I thought it was going to be a practical class, so I didn't get any footage of that so far, but I will try and film during a yoga class at some point this week. But yeah, it was just a really nice class led by Swami Shiva Bhaktananda. To be honest, I was a little bit rusty because I've been doing my own practice here at the ashram and I haven't done a class in a long time. But it's nice to just relax into somebody else's directions and just do the class and really enjoy it. To be honest, I always feel so amazing after a good practice. It's like so therapeutic. It really affects your mind, your body, your psyche, everything. I come out feeling kind of very energized and more aligned. So practice yoga. Yeah, it's really good. So this is where I live. One of the cabins, number 1. It's really nice to just wake up in nature with the sound of the birds, and especially when it's raining, you just feel like you're alone in some kind of tropical climate. So I'm really grateful for that. Yeah, and then otherwise today, in a couple minutes, we're doing the first chanting class at noon. Then we have philosophy lecture at 2 and another yoga class at 4 p.m. Afterwards, it's dinner and satsang again. So it's a pretty packed day, but like I said before, I've been here for a little while, so I'm kind of used to the schedule. So I think that for most people, it might be a little bit more challenging. So far, I think that the most challenging thing for me is just going to be doing asanas twice a day. And like I said, like really nervous about teaching, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. everyone. So we are at the end of day 3 of the teacher training here, and we have had a couple different lectures so far. We've had a lecture on Swami Shivananda's life, Swami Vishnudevananda's life. We had a couple different classes as well. So just like a regular class, beginner's class, and then we started to figure out how we're gonna teach the beginner's class. And then today we were working on the headstands, and we worked a little bit on the sun salutations as well. And then today we had a lecture by Atmaham about the difficulties that we encounter on a spiritual path, which I always find interesting because we all set out for different reasons to do this teacher training, and we all have a curiosity or a love for yoga. But depending on how much you're invested or you want to invest yourself on this spiritual path, to the extent that you want to invest yourself, to that extent you'll discover how many obstacles you have in your way. And I definitely can attest that I have encountered some major obstacles so far. Just to give you a little bit about a background, I was 17 when I first came to this ashram many years ago, and Swami Ambika, who was here at the time, I had this conversation with her and just was talking about how I wanted to go meditate in a cave in India, and I wanted to spend the rest of my life meditating and chanting. And I guess she took me seriously because I said it pretty seriously, and she just said to me, "You need a guru." And that sentence really resonated with me and stayed with me. And I tell this story to people because I just can't believe how 1 month later, after leaving the center, I found who became my teacher for meditation and the spiritual path that I follow or that I believe in. So that was kind of really magical, and I really invested myself in this. I decided I was going to quit school, go to India, meditate, and really follow the spiritual path as much as I could. And I think my mind got wrapped up into it, and that's really all I could think of. I completely forgot about the world. For like 6 months to a year, I was totally wrapped up in just doing meditation, like from 3 hours to 8 hours a day, and doing karma yoga. Whether it was cleaning the bathrooms, I really didn't care what it was that I was doing. I just wanted to continue repeating mantra and advance on the path. And then something happened, and I encountered, I don't know, it was like hesitation. And from that point on, I started to discover everything else that was in the way of me going towards my goal. It was almost as if the same intensity that I put to go forward on the spiritual path, it came back to me like a boomerang. So I definitely can attest that there are some major obstacles. In the lecture, he was talking about lack of discipline is one, false expectations. So like having a set idea of what it's going to be like and then realizing that it's not that at all. Whether it's about the path itself, the day-to-day of what it is actually like to live a life of sadhana, or whether it's about your teacher, your guru, like how he's behaving, what it means, and judging by his actions, you know, whether he's realized or not. Sometimes these beings are so high and elevated that we can't really judge them by their actions. So that's one thing. And the other one, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it will come back. So yeah, I was talking about obstacles, and I find that that's one thing that I encountered. Like if you really throw yourself into something and you don't take in consideration all parts of yourself, then you're bound to eventually have to face those things. You can't hide forever from who you are, what you're made of, and your destiny and your karma. Because sometimes life there are some people that live the life of a renunciate and that can just give everything up and go live in nature and never think twice about the world, whether it's like having a lot of money or a career or a wife or a husband, a progeny, whatever it is that your ambitions are. Some people just can give that up, and that's their vocation, that's their path, that's their dharma. But for most of us, we all have different desires, and we're kind of bound in different ways by invisible cords to the world. And we need to deal with that, and we need to find a way to live a spiritual life in 2020 and beyond, in the modern world. And it's not always easy because we're pulled left and right by desires in our minds, and we're left basically having to try and differentiate what is just a desire and what is my dharma. And I think that's an interesting thing to reflect on and talk about. And that's actually a lecture we just had today and the day before on the Bhagavad Gita. I always found that it's so interesting, this situation that Arjuna is put in when he has this conversation with Krishna at the battlefield, because most of us will think, or most of us tend to think of war as something negative and killing as something negative, and that it's just 100% bad. But the Bhagavad Gita also shows the flip side, which is there is such a thing as a righteous war. So if you take such an extreme example, then you can apply that to your life as well, in a way that you can look at, well, maybe I'm in a tricky situation, or I'm in this treacherous situation and I don't understand why, but I have to continue moving forward in life. And so maybe there's another way to look at it, as not thinking that it's a bad action that I'm doing, but that it's basically my duty to continue to do what is right, or what I was born to do on this earth. And sometimes, I don't know, I find that I'm discovering more and more that I meditate, and the more and more that I gain life experience, that really nothing is just black or white. Everything has so much nuance. And I think that hearing of the stories in the Mahabharata that we're hearing through Swamiji and Charanam and other storytellers, it's just so interesting because everything has a backstory. Every villain, like they say, has the potential to become a saint, and every saint was once a villain. And everything has so much more complexity than meets the eye. So that's something that I've been thinking a lot about in the past few months, just like everything that I've experienced in my life so far. What does it mean? And is it necessarily just all good or bad? And what, yeah, just like trying to find deeper meaning to the mundane things or the negative things, and even the positive things that have happened, like trying to correlate and see how all the stars aligned to make that happen. And I find like one notion that I always come back to is like when the clock strikes 12, it's kind of like God designs the universe so perfectly, and it's so interesting. Sometimes you go through stuff and you're in the midst of it and there's so much happening and you don't understand why in the moment, but eventually sometimes you get a breather, the clouds pass and you're head above water and you have an aha moment and it all makes sense. It all comes together. It's kind of the last piece of a puzzle that you put in the puzzle, and you just see the full picture, and you see the magic in his work and the reason for everything to happen. Even Swami Shivananda says there's something good in every seeming failure. So like failure is not even something that actually exists. Yeah, in the moment you feel like you're experiencing a failure, but actually maybe another way to look at it is that it's just a seed. It's a seed for success, because every failure teaches you something, and by learning, if you're able to pick yourself up and muster the courage to start again and learn from that mistake, then you'll actually be conscious of what you're doing, and what you build will have value to yourself and to the world, because you will be in full knowledge of what you've done and why. So yeah, I think that's just a reflection I've been having lately. So the bell's ringing. I'm gonna be heading to satsang shortly, because I don't want to be late, and I will see you maybe tomorrow or Friday. Friday is our first day off, so that'll mark the end of the week and the end of the first vlog. Hopefully you've enjoyed following me on this journey so far, and I look forward to continuing to show you how I evolve, and how everybody else around me continues to invest themselves in the training.
Breathe a little bit, cross the legs, do the neck.